Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. If you're looking for jewelry that makes an impact on your self-care routine and your style, Empowerography would love to offer you a discount code to one of our exclusive partners, Quartz & Canary Jewelry and Wellness Company. Please use code EMPOWER15 to receive 15% off upon checkout at www.quartzandcanary.com. Quartz & Canary is truly the place where spirituality meets style. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Ambila Nath. She is a spiritual business coach and serial entrepreneur. How are you doing this morning, Ambila?
I am doing great, Brad. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for taking the time to be here today and share a bit about your story and your journey with us. I appreciate you taking the time, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. And it's a great honor and pleasure to be part of this.
So let's jump right in. You are a spiritual business coach, a serial entrepreneur, a spiritual teacher, an international speaker. That's a hell of a lot of hats you wear. How do you find the time for it all? And how do you prioritize?
Well, firstly, all of those hats don't get worn at the same time. So the speaking opportunities happen when they happen, kind of thing, like today. In terms of everything else, I think because it's just a part of my business and what I do in terms of being a certified coach, I'm also a tarot reader and energy healer. And all of those three work, I was going to say flawlessly as part of my business because it's just everything that I do. So how do I find time for that? I think when you make something a priority and it's important to you, then you make the time available. You do what you need to do. And especially in terms of a business, you do what you need to do. So in terms of, getting the clients booking, making sure the clients are being nurtured, making sure other things are happening, you need to have systems in place. And I'm sure every entrepreneur and person you've spoken to will say they've got certain systems in place, whether that's automated or whether that's actually people helping and working with them. But you need to have some kind of support that keeps your business going.
For sure. It's interesting to hear the different systems that people have in place in order to prioritize their tasks on a day-to-day basis.
I am a pen to paper person.
Me too.
I love it. I think when I'm writing, I tend to, maybe it's that I absorb information quicker or that the flow is there and more information may come out depending on what I'm doing. But I also have a very technical background.
Right.
Because I was in management consulting, so I have a very IT kind of based background.
Right.
So I don't hide away from systems. And I have a wonderful color-coded calendar, which tells me all of the stuff that's going to be happening in the day, and the color coding highlights whether it's a business thing, whether it's a informal chat, whether I'm spending some personal time, whether whatever. It's really so quick and easy for me to kind of go, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing now, because I sometimes don't even need to see the text against it. The color just makes it obvious. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, I need to make a note of that one, or I need to follow up on that one. So my color coding system definitely helps me to prioritize my day. But as I said, every day I am a pen to paper person. So every day I will write out the priorities for that day. Mm-hmm. And then out of those priorities, which are the two that absolutely have to be done. Right. Absolutely have to be before I go to bed. Yeah. And then make sure those are the highest of the priorities. And then anything that I'm not able to do, because life happens, technology happens, as we discussed before.
Yes.
It gets carried on to the next day. I don't kill myself over something.
Yeah. So it's always two tasks that are at the top of the list that must be done for each day.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they'll either be priority for that day,
right,
or they will be priority for that month, which I've just been, and I'll own up to it.
Right.
Been kind of passing it down the line because they weren't, right at the top at the beginning of the month, but because of other things that have taken over, sometimes things end up sliding. Mm-hmm. So yes. So for me, because knowing that you've completed something. I don't think it's so much the number, because I think people get hung up on the number. They get hung up on the checklist of I tick this off, I tick that off. But it's more about that feeling of I've completed something. And it could be a little thing, but the priority stuff is actually the bigger projects, the bigger stuff that you might need to do. So getting those off your list just gives you a great sense of achievement.
That's right. It feels good to complete things. It's like a sense of achievement for sure. So you briefly alluded to a great segue here. What were you doing for work before making the jump into entrepreneurship?
God, I worked for the corporate world.
Okay.
And I was in management consulting. I had 2 corporate jobs before I went into my own business. So the first one, after I graduated, I got into middle management by the age of 25. So I was managing quite a big operational in the telecoms business. And that helped me the mentors I had helped me to learn a lot about business, or the realization that it's not just one hat, because as an employee, we go in and we're just doing one job. Right. And that's all we worry about. We don't really get into the strategy. We're not part of the vision of the business, unless of course you're a director or something. But most levels, you're just focused on your own business. But I was fortunate where I was that I got to see the upper level of what it takes to have a business, because I was in the operational part, and that's the hub of the business. So then all of a sudden I got introduced to sales, marketing, accounting, all of those key areas. Not needing to do the jobs, but just the integration of how everyone works together to, give the end result. So that was amazing for me to have in my early 20s. Then I moved on to management consulting. So within that, I was also a business consultant, where we used to go into multinational corporations, look at their processes across the whole of the world in terms of their HQs, and basically put systems in place right from the beginning right to the end of the supply line. So again, that also helped me, but it was more around the IT systems. So taking the business background, taking all of the IT stuff and everything, it just kind of really helped to form that basis of how I could help myself in my business. So after I left the corporate world because after a while, I think you just get worn out. Yeah. And I became a number, and it was just so much travel that there was no other life. It was literally just working, traveling, airports. And I think, as I said, priorities changed in life, and I felt ready to do my own business. So I always wanted to, from the age of 19, I knew I wanted to be in business, but I just didn't know what at that time, because nobody in my family was at that time in business. Okay. So there wasn't anybody I could actually go to or tap into or talk to or, get guidance from. Yeah. So I think that's why I followed the generic route of going into corporate jobs after graduating, and then just kind of, forming life from that way.
That's what we're taught, and that's what we're conditioned to do, right? Is go to school, and then you get out and you get the good paying corporate job with benefits, and that's it. That's life every day.
Exactly. But also my parents' mindset from the people they had seen in business was that it's hard and you don't have a guarantee of income. So for them, and of course the people you're surrounded by, having a job gives you that security. Yes. Because they came from a world where a job was for life. It's not the world we're now living in. No. So they came from that mindset that a job equals security.
Yeah. Yeah. And you, like you said, you stay at that one job for the rest of your life. You retire there. You get the watch and all, like these 25-year, these milestone gifts for being with the company for X amount of years. And that's just it. That's just the way it was.
And that doesn't exist in our world anymore.
No.
So, but yes, so that's, I think, the kind of mindset. I won't say I 100% took their mindset, but definitely following was easier than thinking of what I wanted to do, only because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Well, let's be honest, at 19, most don't know what they want to do at that age anyways. I mean, it's funny. I think about this because my kids are now 20 and 22, and these kids at 18 finishing high school are expected to know what they want to do for the rest of their lives. And as you said, things have changed. since we were kids, I mean, since our parents were kids, but there's still that pressure there that you've got to figure out what you want to do. You got to have an idea of what you want to do. And at 18, I think that's a lot of pressure to put on a kid.
I think it is. But again, it's I'm going to base it on Victorian mindset, where by the time you hit 18, you're an adult. So therefore, you need to behave like an adult. You need to take the responsibilities on as an adult.
Yeah.
I mean, we're now reaching 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, still trying to figure out what it is that we want to be doing in our lives.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is academia worldwide hasn't really changed. The syllabuses may have in terms of, the history, education, whatever, but the way, the mindset and the thinking, that hasn't changed. So the general, because we have it in the UK as well, that, when you're about 14, 18, you're meant to have it all figured out. You're meant to know when you're going to university which career path you're going to pick, because that's going to be sustaining you until the day you die. And you're like, I don't know what I want to do. And you put so much fear into kids because they feel they need to have it all sorted.
Yeah. I
talk to so many of my clients who are younger, and they're like, I don't have my life sorted and I'm reaching 30. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God. That is nothing. That is nothing.
No.
But they feel they should have it all, everything, all the expectations ticked off.
Yeah. Well, I think the education system is very, I don't know about the UK, but here it's broken. I don't think that the curriculum, the things that they're teaching the kids are useless. They need to teach them life skills and managing
100%.
money and things and career paths and things like that. These classes and stuff that these kids are taking are useless.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm completely on board with what you're saying. I don't think everything needs to go, but they definitely do need to introduce more life skill based classes as well, because
an overhaul is needed for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So,
I don't see it happening in our lifetime. I mean, I think they're just happy with the status quo and let's just keep it this way. And it's too much work to overhaul the educational system. And again, these beliefs that you have to go to university in order to succeed in life, and I think is complete bullshit. Again,
it was what was done in previous times.
Right.
So it's none of it is bullshit. It's just an evolving.
Yeah. Okay.
Things are different.
Yeah.
Because back in the day when my father was younger, then to get a better paid job, to get a, security, university was the path. And that's what you aspired for, because you knew you would be able to have a better earning, better lifestyle for your family and everything.
Yeah.
Whereas now there's so many more opportunities available to us. There's so many ways of succeeding, making money, doing so many different things that weren't available then. So I think it's just looking at it from a point of view of this is just evolvement as opposed to things, still being bad.
Right. Very true. So for you, Ambila, what was the transition like from corporate into entrepreneurship?
It was shit. Am I allowed to swear? Sorry, am I allowed to?
Yes, you are. It's okay.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it was. Because no one told me, nobody was around to tell me how hard it was going to be and how lonely it was going to be, and that you would have to wear 30 different hats all at once trying to juggle, because the internet was just getting started. Well, it wasn't just getting started, it was there. But in the sense of so many experts being available, so many experts sharing their knowledge, that's probably only been around for the last, less than 10 years.
Yeah.
So I was just at the cusp of before that, thing started, and people were not willing to share. People were not willing to guide you or help you or show you. So my path, which is one of probably the reasons of me doing what I do, was probably a lot more longer than what my clients are facing, because I'm able to give them that guidance and save so many years of wasted time learning skills, learning stuff that they probably actually don't need to, and showing them systems and showing them cost-effective ways. Because I think the other mindset I came with was that you had to have an office, you had to have a team of people, you had to have phone systems in place, you had to have all of the bells and whistles of, being in business. before you'd even got your first client. So think of the money, the cost of setting all of that up before you've even got your first client. It's like, oh my God, what the hell?
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. And, and that's even before you get a chance to pay yourself a penny for anything. So it was really a switch in terms of thinking, oh my God, how can I make this work? And it was just a huge, tough learning curve. So it took me probably 5+ years before I thought, okay, I think I've kind of got to grips with what it is that I'm doing. And the reason why I say serial entrepreneur was that even though I qualified as a coach in 2003, UK wasn't aware of what coaches were. They were in the corporate world. So if you wanted to get team building and stuff, but they weren't in the personal world. And I remember going to, potential clients and stuff, and you could see the walls and everything coming up and the automatic, sign on their forehead. There is nothing wrong with me. I am not mental. I don't need to be in a mental asylum, because that was their interpretation of a coach.
Yeah.
So I transitioned, actually. I thought, oh God, I'm not going to make any money. So then I went into doing interior design.
Wow. From coaching to interior design.
Why not?
Yeah.
I had a passion for it. I could do it. And the thing is, in life, one thing I have always guided myself by is the skills I have and not the labels of the title jobs I've carried. And it's those skills that have allowed me to be the serial entrepreneur, because then I'm not set by any sector. I'm not set by any one thing that I need to do in order to succeed. So the interior design actually came about because, yes, I had all the business skills. I love decorating. A lot of my friends were, seeking my advice on it and everything. And I thought, I can make money.
There you go. I love that. So
therefore, I did a online course, just to really, and of course I got books and everything else. So I did a lot of the research. I did the basic understanding of schemes, and at a level where I could give proper consultations, not because I didn't understand colours and what goes and styles and stuff, but I just wanted to, I suppose for my own knowledge, give a little bit more professionalism. Yeah. So I did all of that, and I landed my first client, and he stayed with me and was absolutely amazing for years, until I decided I needed to let go of interior design.
And back into the world of coaching.
Yeah. And I realized only a couple of years ago how my mindset was working, because it was working on the employee mindset that you could only succeed at one thing.
Right.
So I had a lucrative interior design business, which then went on to events business because the coaching still wasn't 100% there. And I packed both of those in because I believed at that time that I couldn't have multiple businesses. I needed to just concentrate on coaching because that's what I aspired to be, even though I was doing all of that, the coaching stuff in the background. Right. I just was doing it more as a hobby. And now I think about it and think, oh my God, why didn't somebody actually point that one out to me?
So what was the shift in mindset that kind of, for lack of a better term, woke you up to that?
I think it's a lot of inner work. And I think it's when you're ready to actually see things, because the fact of me adding the spiritual part in front of the business coach is that, as I said before, I'm a tarot reader, energy healer. So alongside doing the interior design event business, I was opening up to my intuition. I was beginning to learn the skills of spirituality, i.e. psychic abilities, whatever you want to call them. And that was a side business. I was making money from it eventually. But it wasn't an intention that I had set out to make money from it. I had set it out because it was just a way of meeting new people, doing something that might interest me. And I think somewhere along that kind of journey, I think it was around about my eldest sister passed away in 2017 due to cancer. And there was a lot of mindset changes that happened after she passed that triggered a lot of the great stuff that's going on now. And I think I did a lot of personal development. I'm always doing personal development, but that particular time. And that's when I had that realization of literally wanting to hit myself over the head with a frying pan. Go, you let go. The universe was giving you so much income, so much money, and you closed the door on it because of the mindset I had grown up with, that you can only succeed in one thing. And I was just like, what? Why didn't somebody tell me that before? Why didn't somebody point it out?
Yeah,
that's what I was doing. Because for me, my behavior was completely justified. It was completely normal. And all of my friends, because we all come from the same mindset, nobody questioned it. Nobody thought I was, being stupid, or this is what you're doing. Do you not realize it? They were like, yeah, no, completely understand. You can only do one thing at a time. So yes, what you're doing is absolutely, fits in with what we understand. So there was nobody, absolutely nobody in my life that pointed that out to me. That realization came via me. So it's just like, oh God, only if it's
a hard lesson.
It's a very hard lesson.
But now you're sharing that knowledge through your experiences with your clients, so they don't go through the same experience.
Exactly.
Which is great. And this all goes back to what you were saying earlier about how people weren't sharing. That's shifting. And I've noticed that as well. A lot more people are more open to sharing and helping others. And it's an amazing thing. There was a guy I worked with when I was working full time for another company before my corporate job. And this gentleman, I worked for an audiovisual company, and we set up video walls for corporate shows and concerts and things like that. And this particular gentleman that worked for the company, it was a small company. There was, I think, including the owner, there was about 8 of us full-time employees. And this particular gentleman had been there for a long time, and he was very, very guarded with what he knew. He was the only one in the company that could do what he did, and he didn't want to share that knowledge. It used to bother the hell out of me. I used to think, what the fuck? Like, just share the knowledge. And I mean, what if you can't be there one day, or you can't be there for a week, or whatever the case may be? And albeit on that hand, yes, that makes sense. But on the other hand, I kind of see where he was coming from as well when I thought about it. And he was worried about someone taking his job, but that no one was interested in taking his job. We just wanted to be able to help the company. If something happened, this guy couldn't make it for a show that we were doing, but he just would not share the knowledge, just refused.
And again, that is so normal.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even now, if you go into companies and stuff, I'm not saying that people are like that, but it is that mindset of, if I start sharing too much, then it means that somebody else can move up and take over my, job, and I might get, due to something or other, be told to made redundant. But no, I think, because my first job was working in business operations and literally helping the business to expand, I went from a 2-people team, so my manager and me, to a nearly, I think we were 30 when I left. And I was, managing, and I worked along every single department that was set up. So I set up the systems, I set up the processes, I set up the technology, everything. So I knew I was the one person in our team who understood all of the departments and how we worked and every single process. And I think that helped in terms of my mindset of sharing, because for us, exactly what you were saying, if somebody was ill, somebody not there, someone else could pick up that role and do the job, because it was about the business. It wasn't about you. Yeah. So I learned that lesson a lot early.
Yeah, it's that competition mindset. And I don't know, once you shift out of that, your whole world opens up and changes. It's amazing, because I mean, we all go through it. I went through it. I suffered from that competition mindset with my photography business. But once I realized and thought about it and woke up to the fact that no one else is me. No one else takes photos the way, speaking with my particular business, no one else takes photos the way I do. No one else has my eye. So sure, I don't mind sharing knowledge, and I'm not worried about what other photographers are doing anymore, because no one else interacts with my clients like I do. No one else is me. And that's the mindset you got to get yourself into, is that sure, you have these skill sets, but it's okay to share the knowledge and help others. It's only good for everybody. Community is one of the most incredible things. When you have that sense of community, everybody wins. So why not share the knowledge? Because no one else is you, and not every client is going to be for you.
But that's the thing. It's about the business owners, entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call them, realizing that.
Yeah.
As you were talking and you were mentioning the word competition, I thought, Oh my God, but that's what we're taught.
Yeah, you're right.
Marketing is all about, look at your competitors. What are your competitors doing?
Yeah.
They probably invented the word competition with, constantly looking at competitors.
Yeah.
So therefore, everybody is our competition, because again, probably goes back to what I was saying, earlier on, that people didn't used to share. Yeah. So it's coming from that mindset that, okay, they're our competition. If they're earning more than us, if their branding is better than us, website is more, clients are more, whatever, they become a competition. And you're thinking, but surely you can just see what they're doing and learn from them for what will suit you, what fits in with what you want to do, rather than feeling the negative of it.
Yeah, the threat. Yep.
Yes, thank you. I was thinking, what is the word? Yes, threat, rather than seeing them as a threat, but actually seeing them as somebody you can learn from. Because regardless of how many years you've been in business, you never stop learning. And if you're open to it, that should be something that excites you. I get excited by learning something new, and I don't really care if the person is 30 years younger than I am, or 30 years older than I am. It's not about that. It's if they can teach me something that's going to help me and my business, give me a different perspective on who I am, how I can be, how I can improve, then for me, that's all a good thing.
For sure. I got into the mindset. It took me about 1.5 years into my entrepreneurial journey, 2 years to get into that mindset. But I finally resided to the fact that my only competition is me. As long as I can look back and see that I have improved and I have progressed in my career, in my business, in my skill set, all of that, that's the only competition I have.
Yeah, exactly. And also, how liberating is that?
Oh, it's incredible. It's one of the most amazingly freeing feelings, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for actually saying that, because that'll be something I think I'm going to start incorporating into my coaching.
Beautiful. There you go.
So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. So speaking of being a spiritual coach, Ambila, how and when did your own personal spiritual journey begin?
I have always had an intrigue since I was probably a teenager. Well, from first recollection, it might be earlier, but I kind of remember it from teenagers, where, you get into astrology, you're reading your horoscopes, you're wanting to know what's going to happen in your life and stuff. And then that kind of progressed to me getting palm readings, astrology readings, then moved on to tarot readings. And I had that for, so many years, just checking in maybe every other year or whatever, how life's going. Am I going to succeed in life? Is, stuff going to happen? And that kind of, because we're always striving and wanting reassurance that, we're going to be okay. But my own journey didn't start until I started my own business, because my personal background is that I'm an Indian woman in the UK, and growing up, there's certain expectations that you have. You're meant to get married, you're meant to be a wife, you're not meant to have any dreams. That's all of your, husbands. Not so much now, but when I was growing up. And so, long story very short, I left my family. Otherwise, this could be another chapter. I left my family and literally walked out on them, that they didn't know where I was and everything, to start my new life. I have to say that I have reconciled with all of my family, and have done for a very long time. And we have a very loving, trusting, wonderful relationship now. We've, healed and completely moved beyond it.
Right.
So, but when I went through that part and I left my family, I moved to the area where I'm living now in the UK, and I didn't know a soul. I didn't know anybody apart from the landlady that I was renting a room from. So around about that time, as I said, I was getting tarot readings, just checking in, seeing how life is going. And I met a reader, and she said to me, "Oh, I'm going to be doing these psychic circles." Never heard of them. And I went, "What's that?" She says, "Well, I'm going to be teaching people skills on, opening up to their intuition and stuff. Do you want to come?" And it was summer, spring, going into summer. And I thought, something to do, way of meeting new people. And, why not?
Yeah.
I honestly just took it with a pinch of salt. I didn't really think too much into it, apart from it's something to do and I get to meet people. So I started attending these, and actually I started to enjoy them. And it started to open up my own intuition and my own guidance and my own ability of reading energy. which again, when I used to get tarot readings, I never thought I'd be one of those people. I was doing that for 3 years, I think, on and off. She did courses teaching tarots because that's what she specialized in, but she used to teach us everything. So she taught us everything from mediumship to, I kind of drew the line at Ouija board and, other skills, crystals, and you name it. She did everything, but she left it to us for what we were drawn to.
Okay.
And I realized that mine was related to energy, and tarot is a tool I use. So I call myself an intuitive tarot reader.
Okay.
Because I'm reading energy. I could do a reading on you right now without needing my cards because I'm reading your energy. But sometimes having a tool gives other people that confidence that you have an ability.
Yeah.
So tarot's just kind of give me that guidance and stuff. I also qualified as a healer probably around the same time that I started opening up to my spirituality, but I never used that skill because again, it was just like, I'm not really sure it's something, I can make money from or whatever. So again, just before the pandemic happened, I don't know why, but I just thought, you know what, let me do this. Let me tap into, probably I think because my own skills as a intuitive, psychic, whatever you want to call us, are really evolving. And I was realizing certain skills have been quite enhanced. So I thought, okay, let's go into, do the healing side. And I literally, before the pandemic, was solidly booked out for 3 weeks, to the point I forgot to actually put in any breaks or lunch breaks because that was my management system. And then everybody cancelled because the pandemic happened and lockdown happened. But then I just went, after kind of getting over the shock, I think everybody in the world was relating to, lockdown.
Yeah, for sure.
I went, let me see if I can take this online. So I did my first healing online. Yeah. And the person gave such amazing feedback. She said it felt as if you were in the room with me. And I went, great, I can do this. Because I know I can do tarot readings. Tarot readings I've been doing for over years, online, face-to-face, all of that. Yeah. But I wasn't sure about the healing aspect, and it was flawless. So that's basically how the journey kind of started in terms of spirituality and how it's evolved to where I am today.
I love it. So what would you say is one of the most exciting or inspiring things about the work that you do?
Hearing somebody say their life has changed because of something, not from an arrogant point of view, but from something they've heard you say or something you've shown them or taught them or helped them to do. Having that, I think for me, that is the biggest payment. I mean, don't get me wrong, of course, I like the money.
Of course.
But that is the biggest payment. Just seeing that energy, seeing that glow, seeing that, I suppose, that light in their eyes where they kind of start to believe in themselves and feel, oh my God, this can happen for me. Having been through that myself and not having had anybody to see that in me, being able to see it in somebody else, that's like, that for me is a huge moment.
Giving back and having impact.
Yeah, makes me emotional.
It's an amazing feeling, though, when you know that something you have done has impacted someone and changed their lives, whether it be small or big. It's one of the most incredible feelings I think we could ever experience as human beings.
And such massive gratitude.
For sure.
Just really do, yeah.
So in your business, do you specifically and only work with women? And if so, why have you decided to solely work with women?
The answer to everything you have said is no.
Okay.
I advertise, but that's not what I get. I have probably more male clients, and my jaw drops.
Really?
Because I'm kind of astounded. I think it's that assumption that maybe women are more open to the spirituality, so therefore understand it and are the ones who are getting the tarot card readings. So therefore, that was kind of my mindset because that's me. And I couldn't remember any man I was surrounded by who, openly said to me, I go and get tarot readings or go and talk to a psychic. So the assumption was it's women. So hence why you kind of market to women. And because you as a woman have been through your own journey and you think men aren't going to be interested.
Right.
Hindsight is a great thing because I have male clients who are, just getting tarot readings with me, but also having coaching done with me. Yeah. So the answer is no, but I still advertise as women.
Yeah.
No, not limited at all. And I'm connected to so many more men
That's
than
interesting.
maybe women. Yeah, maybe because I talk about spirituality in a way that people can understand it. Because of my technical background, I was having to speak two languages, the technical for the programmers and developers, but then the user language, so that I could explain to just the average Joe how to use the system, or, what was required. And I've noted that I've taken that same mindset and way of communicating within the spirituality realm. Right. So I'm, rather than making it so out there that you kind of feel, oh my God, because my impression of spirituality was, and by no disrespect to anybody listening to this, and I apologize in advance, but this is just me, that it was very hippified, very about dancing in the woods and, all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's not.
No.
And I think so, so being able to kind of give that perspective, to maybe shift perspective rather than give that perspective, shift that perspective like I shifted mine. Yeah. I think is, being useful. And maybe that's why it attracts men.
That's very interesting, though. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Now, you say the key to manifesting the life of your dreams, life you dream of, is knowing who you are. Why do you believe so strongly in that? And how long did it take you to get into that mindset around that belief?
Me personally, or me as in a general?
You personally.
Okay. Me personally, I've been on this self-development journey since, as I said, from my first memory. Yeah. Could have been earlier, of 16, I think. And so I've been continuously doing some kind of work, mindset work, physical work, whatever, on myself, opening up that awareness from that age. And in terms of when did I get to that realization, probably in, honestly, laying all cards on table about a decade ago.
Okay.
Because being realistic, even though I'm doing all of this work, I'm still within, I think, along the time that I opened up to my spirituality, because I'm still doing all the logical work, but then I'm still blaming others and external factors for things not happening in my life. And it's when that shift happened, that's when I started realizing that it really is all about me. What is it that I'm doing? What is it that I'm not doing? How are people interpreting, not so much interpreting, but coming across, what energy am I attracting into my life? And why am I attracting that? So those repeat patterns that we talk about, why do they keep on happening to me? Why is it that I had all of this stuff, before I got to leaving my family, that kept on continuously happening, until you start to have people who can guide you, or, and it doesn't have to be a coach like myself that you pay for, but because nowadays everything's so much on YouTube, your wonderful podcast that's constantly talking to people. There's so many avenues of information that people can get to that realization quicker. But until you start doing and having that realization and really questioning things going on around you, but also what is it that I'm doing, I think that's when, the shift kind of starts to happen. And not everybody is open to that. I have so many friends I'm connected to who know exactly what I do, but they have no interest in wanting to shift or change their life, not to the magnitude that I have.
Yeah.
They'll shift it in the sense of they'll move home or they'll change jobs, but they won't want to do the inner work, because doing the inner work means that you're opening up so many closets that you actually don't want to.
Yes, for sure. And, you got to look inside.
Yeah. And I have to say, I think, one of the things that I do say to people is that all of my skeletons are out dancing with me. So, I don't have anything in. No, but it's true, because I've shared everything that I've healed with my family. Yeah. So we've had those conversations. So there's nothing that I've not put out to the world that hasn't been healed.
I love that. My skeletons are out dancing with me. That's amazing. I love it.
Thank you. I'm going to write that down so I can use that as a post.
Yes, I think you
that's
should.
A good one.
So I want to speak a little bit about women in business and the corporate world as well, because I come from a corporate background. I've seen, and even now still, that the mindset and behavior of that old boys club mentality when it comes to, say, equal pay for women, women in C-suite level positions in these corporations. And I think it's absolutely horrible that this behavior and this mindset is still there that was in existence in the 40s. I mean, we don't live there anymore. This is 2021. I mean, yeah, we're starting to see a shift in mindset and a lot more women like yourself standing up and saying, enough, I'm done, and taking on the role of CEO, becoming their own CEO and business owner. But can you speak to some of the adversity you had to overcome when you're first starting out, if any, and how you dealt with it?
So when I was in the corporate world and I was in IT back then, there weren't that many women in IT, even when I was studying it. I think I was one of 2 or 3 other women in about 50 plus men. So I have always been in an arena where the numbers have always been, women kind of less, men more. And right. When I went into the corporate world, it was the same, in the sense that I was the only actual woman in middle management, now that I think about it. Wow. I was surrounded by men, and those men were old enough to be my fathers.
Yeah.
So one thing we have to remember is that the corporate world, or any business world at this moment in time, is still got a generation of men of a certain age who were brought up with that mindset, were brought up with those ways of things being. And that's the way it was done. So it's always carried on. It's probably going to take us about another 20 plus years, because it's a generation change. The shift is happening with a generation change. So until the top level changes, where they retire, are no longer choosing to work, then, the next generation comes, and they're the ones who start to bring in new ways of working and practice and everything else. It's a filter system. And from the work that you do in the podcasts and the amount of people you've spoken to, changing somebody's mindset is the hardest thing you can face in life.
Yeah, for sure.
Because unless somebody is ready and willing and wanting and knowing that they are ready to do this, you can't, no amount of asking them to listen to wonderful positive podcasts or, taking them out onto lots of positive stuff is going to change that. Believe me, I have plenty of friends, and I've been doing this since I was 16. So it's letting go of the fight and just be present in the movement. We're making change happen. Yes, it's not happening as quick enough, but men have been superior to women since, dawn of zero.
Yeah.
Women only started getting their rights maybe 100 plus years ago, when we were allowed to vote. So think of the amount of time you've had in that superiority of being the head and women, being less. And think about the amount of time it's now going to change, hopefully not from the dawn of zero, but for that evolvement to, keep on happening. I mean, I see the change in the younger generation, my nieces and nephews. So they're probably about 2-3 generations below. So, from my own, kind of experience and what I'm observing, I think it's knowing that realization that, yes, change is happening, and we just need to keep on doing what we're doing and be thankful for men like yourself who are having that realization, who are helping us to have that voice, to be able to make this change happen and giving us that platform to do that. But I think it's the energy that you put behind it, the cause, that's the important part. It's not so much, is it happening right now, but it's more controlling the energy. So you're keeping it positive so that things can happen quicker, because the more you start to put anger and other things into it, then you're creating blocks and you're bringing more negative energy back, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. As you said, the shift isn't happening quick enough. It is starting. I personally have seen it in the last 18 months since I started my journey with the podcast. There's definitely been a shift, but as you said, it's not happening quick enough. But you can't force these things upon people. They have to discover and come into it on their own. We just have to keep doing what we're doing. And I think we as men need to stand up and show solidarity for our women and show them that we are standing beside them and we do stand behind them and we support them and we want to lift them up and elevate them and help amplify their voices. And we just need to get more men on board with this type of thing and this mindset, and just show women that, you know what, we're not all like these old white guys in the corporate world. Not everyone's like that. Not all of us men are like that.
And that's all that we can hope for. But it's also having that realization that those men, you know, up in that corporate world do come from a different generation and mindset. Yeah,
for sure. Because you're not going to change those people's minds. It's impossible. There's no way you will ever change their minds.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of going, well, let's go for the next level of generation.
Yes. Yeah.
And if those people, when they step into, you know, the older shoes, then they will be the one who will, you know, start to kind of filter and feed that down.
Yeah. So, the change makers.
Exactly, because that's the way the world works.
Yeah. Well, as long as we recognize that it is changing and it's time for change, that this stuff needs to shift. It needs to change because it's been far too long this way. So it's definitely, the change is long overdue. Just as long as we're starting to take the steps towards making those changes, then it's progress, right?
100%.
Ambila, what drives, motivates, and inspires you to keep going, to keep pushing and excelling at all that you do?
It's wonderful. The first time in my life I came across this word, a very close and dear friend of mine used it. God, I must have been early on in my working career with her. And she said, "You are tenacious." And I went, what does that mean? And then she explained it and I went, oh, yeah, I suppose I am. So I'm going to use that word.
I love it.
I'm tenacious. I knew from the age of 19 that Oprah says she knew from the age of, 8 or 4 or something.
Yeah.
I knew from an early age, maybe 14 actually, but 19 was when I wanted the business, that my life was going to be so much more different than my parents had envisaged. And I think that has been my inner driving force. I think that has been my guide to me doing and walking through it. Well, not necessarily walking through, but going through all of these challenges that I have gone through and faced in my life. It's been that driving force that I'm not going to settle. I refuse to settle for something that isn't going to give me joy and happiness. I refuse to fit into what society expects of me because they're comfortable. That's absolutely fine if that's where they want to be. So I have always sought out people, information, learning, growing, whatever, to help me to keep on evolving, to get to that better thing. And now that I am fully into my spiritual guidance system and stuff, that evolving, I'm really using that to help me to, set that guidance in terms of what I need to do next. But in terms of what inspires me, honestly, I'm very logical based, as you know, from my technical background.
Yes.
So I have a number of coaches who I tap into. And one of my routines, it's actually now become a habit, is that the first thing I do when I wake up is I will go onto YouTube on my phone and I will listen to something positive. I tend to just pick according to wherever my energy is. YouTube is now so integrated that it knows that, she loves these inspirational people. So all of a sudden I open it up and it's got about 600 inspirational
all these
videos.
Recommendations, yeah.
Exactly. So therefore I don't need to sit there looking. I just kind of scroll and go, oh, that looks nice, I'll fancy, and I'll listen to that. So while I'm doing my morning routine, I'm listening to this. And the experts and people I follow change. They change on a daily basis, but they also change according to what I need to grow in and what I need to hear. But my go-tos are Tony Robbins, without any doubt, Abraham Hicks, Oprah occasionally, but not top of the list, Jim Rohn and Wayne Dyer. And I also love Simon Sinek. So those, and Marie Forleo. So there's so many different people. And even, podcasts like yourself that I listen to, because I'm seeking that inspiration, seeking something that they are going to say that I need to hear today to help me to shift my mindset, to help me to keep moving forward. Because sometimes I'll wake up and everybody raves about. Once you know what you're doing and you're doing your own business, you're going to be so passionate, you're going to be jumping out of bed and it's going to be wonderful and all of that. Sometimes I don't want to jump out of bed. I just hop out of bed or, drag myself out of bed. But that's being honest. And it's at those times that you kind of put those podcasts on with something positive. And then you're like, okay, now I get it. Okay, I need to get back into my head, get back into my journey, get, moving forward.
Yeah.
So having that support system, and I also have amazing family and friends around me as well, having that support system around you, whether, it's virtual in terms of the experts or whether it's also an integration of your community, that is a thing that keeps me and my mindset moving forward.
What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
Connection to people. I think it's me seeing the soul of a person and not the title of a person. From whenever I can remember, I have never, ever, ever, don't get me wrong, don't think I'm not going to be in awe if I meet Richard Branson or, somebody like that, but I'm in awe of the person they are, not the title. And from the very first jobs I've had, I've never put managers, titles, anybody like that on pedestals that I couldn't talk to. I've never looked at somebody who has, and believe me, I've had a cleaning job in my life as well, and thought them anything less than a CEO, because everybody is doing something to just put food on the table. So to judge them on their title, it's not very humbling. So it's been very much to do with connecting to the person for who they are and not necessarily the money they're making or what they're doing or how they're doing it. And because of that, I make very deep connections with people, be they my client and I think that's the thing that really helps me in terms of the work I do, in terms of being able to really get to the depths of my clients. Speaking of success, how do you define that word? What does the word success mean to you? Good question. I think for me, 100% having, all of the financial gains and stuff, but I think it's more about stability in the materialistic things, but stability in myself and my own being, and knowing that what I'm doing and how I'm doing it is helping others, but also me knowing that I can give what I want to be able to give, in the sense that I have the systems in place, I have the people in place, I have things I need in place to be able to give back. So that for me would be success, having that sense of stability, security, to be able to do the work that I need to do. What would you say is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received? It was my first ever manager, in a corporate job, of course, who said to me, always check your own house before you point fingers at others. And that for me translated to always check what you're doing, how you're doing it, making sure that anything lacking, faults, whatever, has been healed, has been dealt with before you go blaming other people. So translated to modern talk, take responsibility for the crap going on in your life before you start pointing at other people. Don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. Exactly. What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before learning it? And what was your life like after learning it? I think the important thing I learned, my life before was that my sister was still alive. My life after is that she's not alive now. And the teaching was, didn't expect to get emotional. Take your time. Life is too short. Just do what you need to do. Yeah. What is your personal motto? I've stolen it from Oprah, but I'll take it as my quote. Just focus on your next right move. That's all you need to do. What is my next right move? And then keep moving from that. Love that. Oprah, such a wise woman. Yes. But then I'm sure she's taken it from somewhere too. I'm sure. What does the word empowerment mean to you? Being able to, good question, being able to give back to people and to make change happen. Beautiful. What would you say is one of your biggest life lessons or teachable moments, and what did you learn from it? I think that the biggest life lesson for me was when I left my family, and the biggest teach out of that is knowing that no matter what life throws at you in terms of, challenges and stuff, there's always another day. So you will keep on healing. So yeah, there's always another day.
Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section here. So the next group of questions just be 2, 3, 4-word answer type thing, okay?
No worries.
If you were writing your autobiography, what would the title be?
I was going to say Me, Myself, and I. That's what came to mind.
Okay. How would you describe yourself in one word?
Tenacious.
There's that word again.
It is.
What would your family and friends list as a couple of your best characteristics?
Inspirational. These are words they've said to me, so I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Inspirational, joyful, and somebody they can count on.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would that one thing be?
To love with your soul.
What's one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
Ooh, what I want, God, rather than what I can give, because the response was going to be what I would like to give to others. My God, what I can buy. I mean, I want but can't buy. Oh, can I come back to that one?
Yeah, sure. What is one of your favorite entrepreneurial books?
God, it was my first book that I read, and it was by Ian Van Zandt, and says a woman who can't remember the title. I remember the subtitle. I can't remember the actual title. I think it was The Seat of My House. It's 40 Days and 40 Nights. It's basically one of her first books.
Okay. If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change?
The hatred.
What is your favorite stress-reducing activity?
I listen to positive things.
The last book or podcast I listened to or read was?
Just this morning. It was Les Brown. It was one of his podcasts.
And we'll go back to that. What's one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
It would be, okay, because I'm thinking of individual things, but I think, to put them into a box, it would be the continuous personal development so that I keep on growing.
Okay, that concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. If you could set up a billboard anywhere, where would you put it and what would it say?
Oh my God, billboards, do they exist?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so any city in the world.
Yep, anywhere.
I would pick Barcelona.
Okay.
I love Barcelona. And what would the billboard say? Just focus on your next right move.
Love it. What's the most recent investment you've made in yourself?
The last one I've done so far is that I just brought a content calendar to help me with social media.
Beautiful. What would you say are the top 3 skills needed to be a successful entrepreneur?
Belief in yourself, confidence, and not giving up. You note I didn't use the word tenacious.
I was just going to say tenacity.
3, strike.
What is the most entrepreneurial thing about you?
God, I hope there isn't. I suppose that the work I do, the logic, using logic. Otherwise, I hope there isn't, because I think in my perception of entrepreneurship is sometimes being closed off in a box.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that person.
What's an unexpected blessing or occurrence in your life that you're grateful for?
Leaving my family and having the courage to make the change that I did.
That's a big one for sure.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about a moment when a person's kindness made a difference in your life?
Where do you start? Gotta go. There's just so many. It was, if I really think back, it was a high school teacher, and I had left school and gone on to college, and I came back for just a day visit, and I saw this teacher who I liked a lot, and she said to me, "The best thing you've done is leave this school, because now you are just brimming with confidence and belief." And I went, wow.
That hits home.
Yeah.
What does the best version of you look like when you close your eyes and imagine it?
The same as I am today.
I love that answer.
Thank you.
What do you do to keep yourself inspired every day and to inspire others?
To inspire others, it's keeping in contact with the world via social media, but also all of my clients and people I'm close to, and nurturing them. But for myself, it's very much what I was saying, listening to positive things. And if I'm not listening, then I'm on the phone to one of my friends who can give me a kick up the back to get me into that positive state. So, yeah.
Accountability.
Yes.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Just to say to her, the road may be really hard, but stick with it. You're going to be fine.
Simple and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What would you say?
Thank you for all the blessings you have given me, as hard as they may have been. because it got me to being who I am, to then be able to make change happen for others.
Love it. Ambila, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today and share a bit about your story and your journey with us. I appreciate you taking the time. You are a true inspiration, an incredible woman. I appreciate you. I love your story. I love the work you're doing. And I'm just so honored to have had this time to sit down and have this conversation with you and learn a bit more about your journey. So thank you. I appreciate you.
Brad, that's equal. Thank you so much for giving me this platform, for inspiring me with so many wonderful questions. And for fully connecting with me.
My pleasure and honor to do so. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest has been Ambila Nath. She is a spiritual business coach and serial entrepreneur. Thank you so much, Ambila. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day.
Thank you so much, and I wish you the same.
Thank you. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.